Welcome to Think Bigger Voices, hosted by Jenny Treby and co-produced by Tony DiBenedetto. We're on a mission to break the cycle of poverty for kids in America by inspiring education, advocacy, and action in our communities. We'll tackle big subjects, talk to the experts, and promote the solutions making an impact. Join us if you believe that every kid deserves the opportunity to think bigger.
Welcome to Think Bigger Voices. I'm Jenny Treby. We're in the greater Washington, D.C. region, talking to some pretty incredible people doing great work in the community. Our guest today is a former Horatio Alger National Scholar and now Reverend serving the D.C. community. Welcome, Reverend Christian Aaron.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we are glad that you are here as well.
Thank you.
As we mentioned, Horatio Alger Association, for those of us who don't know, can you tell us a little bit briefly about the Horatio Alger Association and especially the scholarship program?
Yes. So it is a nonprofit that started back in 1947, honoring the rags to riches story of a great author, Horatio Alger. And actually in 1984, they began to incorporate scholarships for students. And so in 2009, I was granted a scholarship that really fueled my education. And to date, the organization has given away over 37,000 scholarships totaling over $265 million. And so something that started off honoring people and pillars of the community transformed into doing that and them also giving back to education. And I was a great recipient of that vision.
I mean, the immeasurable impact.
Oh, yeah.
It's just incredible. Well, let's talk about your role. So you have a pretty unique career as both a licensed nurse and a lead pastor of a church.
Yes.
So tell us about your path and how you've combined, health and wellness with serving people.
Yeah, so I like to share the story. When I was 4 years old, my mother asked my siblings and I what we wanted to be when we grew up. And my brothers were like a police officer, a doctor, a lawyer. And then she looks at me and I said, I want to be a school bus so that I can help carry people to their destinations in life. I know. Oh. And so from a young age...
That's so sweet.
I'm like, and I love that my mom did not shut me down. She said, tell me more. And I've just always had a heart to serve. And so I came to DC for Howard University. I majored in nursing, and immediately after I went straight to seminary because I felt a call to preach the gospel and to share the good news. And throughout that journey, at first it didn't make sense, but I soon learned the importance of merging both mind, body, and spirit. And I've been able to navigate as a pediatric nurse, a youth pastor, now a pastor, and utilizing all the skills through retreats and conferences and helping people to rise to become their best whole self. So I don't see it as a divorce. I see it as a unique marriage that I've been gifted to forge.
So you mentioned the word rise.
Yes.
So tell us about Rise, because you were the founder.
I am. So back when I was actually in seminary, I published a devotional book. And so I said, okay, I need an LLC. And so from that LLC, I've been able to host conferences and retreats and just programs within the community that allows them to be enlightened on holistic wellness. And then last year, I took it a step further, founded a 501c3 nonprofit under Rise Nation. And so my husband and I launched a ministry, a church in DC. And we're using all of our professional backgrounds to really make an impact within our community. And I think the uniqueness of it is, of course, we meet and we worship, but we we thrive outside of the four walls of the building. So we give back through scholarships and toy drives and pack drives and museums. We really want to expose the culture to well-rounded education.
Oh, that's amazing. And I know when we were talking earlier, you said that your congregation is such an incredible mix of working professionals, but also people who are underserved and in great need. So you're really ministering to a wide breadth of people.
Absolutely. And I believe that represents Washington, D.C. is a very transient location. So you have the business professionals. And then my heart is for those who are underrepresented, families that are in need and need hope. And so there is this beautiful, I would say, union between those two demographics that really represents the body of Christ. And I think that, although I have my master's and I've been able to experience things as an entrepreneur alongside my husband, it's so important to never forget where you've come from. And so no matter where life takes me, I will continue to lead from the center and not the front.
Love that.
Love you.
That. You know, you've talked about the 8 components of wellness, which I just think is so cool. Can you share with us what those are?
Yeah. So when I was working as a pediatric nurse, everything was about medicine, pharmacology, and I knew there was more. And then I would go to spiritual settings where it was all about scripture. And I realized that there was a lack of communication because we have 8 components of our being, from financial, social, spiritual, mental, occupational. And when you understand that we come as whole people, it's not enough just to prescribe medicine, or it's not enough just to have enough money in the bank account. You have to be cognizant of the different components of who you are. And any given day, one of those components can rise up, alter our day, shift our emotions, and try to speak loud over our life. And so once you have that holistic awareness, I think that's when progress really, really happens. And so me educating people that it's okay to do breath work and have faith, or it's okay to talk about mental health. It's okay to have financial goals, because all of these are components of who you are.
I love that. And that whole concept of being holistic, because like you said, at any given day, not all 8. I mean, is it ever going to happen that all 8 components are all equal?
Yeah.
It doesn't, that's not life.
It's not life. And I use this analogy. I'm not a big cook, but I cook from time to time. And if you imagine like the eyes on a stove, it is impossible to have all 4 on high. And so sometimes there's components that are on low, that's simmering. There's some that needs, great attention. And so when you have an awareness of your space and what you need, then you're able to take those 8 components and say, okay, what do I focus on today? What will nourish me today? And not have this pressure of trying to do all of them with high intensity.
Right. And all 4 burners cooking on high and burning.
Something's going to get burned.
Going to get burned. Right.
For sure.
How have you found that your congregation and the people that you serve, how have you found that they have kind of absorbed what your philosophy is?
Yeah, I think that it definitely serves a need. I know when I first started, there was some pushback because the things that I was introducing the congregation to, breath work, yoga, mental health, it was kind of a taboo topic at that time. I think now as a society, we're more open to talk about those things. And what they've done is they've embraced it. They have embraced it. We're actually now looking at wellness through the body and through the Bible. And we're just taking ordinary stories and making it applicable to our lives. And so even if you take spirituality out, what you realize, people just want to wake up every single day feeling their absolute best. And so if you introduce them to things that may serve as a distraction or areas that may influence other parts of their life, they feel empowered. And so now we're in a season where they're telling other people, not just because the sermons are so great,
but they probably are.
Yes, I do love writing, but I tell people pastoring and leadership is about 10% of sermon prep. There's so much more, so much day to day, and people just want to know that you care. And that's something that I truly admire about this podcast and what you all are doing to reach those young people that just need to have some motivation towards their education, because it truly is our future.
Oh,
so
well,
enlightenment.
Thank you. Well, it's a lot of work. We all know, all of us in the trenches, and
it is.
So speaking of that, I wanted to talk a little bit more about your background.
Yes.
So I know when we spoke, you grew up in the projects in Alabama, right? Your mom was 17 when she had you?
She was.
And then by the time she was 21,
Yes.
she had 4 kids?
4 kids.
Wow. I can't imagine.
It is.
God bless her.
It was tough. And I think that's probably why I waited so long to birth children of my own. But the uniqueness of Horatio Alger is that they want to know your story. They want to know the adversity you faced. And so I remember writing the essay, and I was just saying, yes, my mother had her first child at 15, me at 17, 4 kids by 21. Father incarcerated for 17 years. He got out a couple years ago. Living in the projects, not having clothes, but just knowing that education was my tool. And so it was difficult, but I've learned to embrace that. That is my story. That is my why. That is my heartbeat. That is why I give back. And so I remember the day where I got accepted into Howard, and the little clothes that I had, I packed my suitcase. I came to Washington, D.C., very afraid, but just knowing that there is more to the world. And so I haven't looked back. And
you mentioned too that when you came to Howard, you'd never even been on a plane before.
I've never been on a plane.
You must have been so nervous.
Oh yes.
You know?
Oh yes. I knew that I had a calling to be a pioneer. I didn't know in what instance, but when I received the Horatio Alger Scholarship, that was the very first plane ride I'd ever taken. And I was able to come into Washington, D.C., where my former university was. And so it was just a full circle moment for me to just get out of my comfort zone, and to know that people wanted to celebrate the adversity that I had overcome. And so that was just a pivotal moment, because when you have that background, you feel unseen. You feel as if you don't have a voice. You feel as if you are becoming a narrative in statistics. And that moment that I got on that plane, I knew that there was more, and that if I continue to walk by faith and just release my fear, the world was my oyster. For sure.
Well, and what I think is so neat too about Horatio Alger, and that you said they want to hear your stories of adversity, and just having spoken with other people who've had similar backgrounds as yours, there's always like a sense of shame, and that's released, you know, and it's encouraged to say, hey, you know, you're not alone, and it's not your fault, and you know, we're here to help. And I'd have to think that's pretty liberating to be able to say, you know, I don't have to hide from where I'm from. I can embrace it.
I can embrace it. And I think that when you understand where you've come from and your past, it informs your future. It informs your now. And so it's always been my goal, no matter what platform I'm standing on, I'm speaking at, to never lose sight of my history and my past. And so what I do now is I encourage those, like the youth of my church and my community, to, yes, it's hard. I know exactly how you feel, but what is your vision? And that vision is what fuels every decision. It fuels you to study. It fuels you to say no to things that don't align with your value. And so my goal is just to be a light in darkness and to allow people to understand that sometimes life will give you cards that you may feel places you in a disadvantage. But when you are methodical and you're thoughtful and you believe that you are a champion, something good is going to come out of it.
How did you know? Like you said, from a young age, you knew education was key. How did you know that? Like, did you know from a young age, like, I'm going to go to college? Or how did that happen for you?
I mean, no one in my family went to college. We were on food stamps and welfare, and even despite that, I believe it's the posture of my mother. I knew when I brought home a bad grade, okay, something is off with this. And so she didn't finish high school. She had to drop out of college. And she would just have conversations with us. She would drive us around to the nice neighborhoods and say, one day you can have this house. One day I want you to have your own car. And so I believe that exposure and getting out of my environment is what made me say, okay, well, if I want that, what are the steps that I need to take to get it? And I knew that education was going to be pivotal in me changing the narrative of not only my family, but for generations that will follow me.
Wow. Did you find that you had good support systems in school to help you get there? Like, how did you even find out about the Horatio Alger Scholarship?
Yes. So I remember vividly when I was in first grade, I had a teacher who would pull me to the side and she would speak life into me. And I thought it was awkward because no other students are getting this attention. And that just followed me throughout my entire matriculation of school. And so fast forward to high school, I had a guidance counselor who will pull my eldest brother and I to the side and say, you should apply to this scholarship. And so, fun fact, my brother was actually awarded the scholarship the year before I was.
No kidding.
He was a state scholar.
Wow.
Yes. He was a state scholar.
And what's he doing now?
He is now a teacher in Philadelphia. He loves education.
Oh.
And I would even credit him because he would make me do book reports in the summertime. And I mean, he was just like, okay, we have to get out of here, sister.
He was a little educator back then.
Yes. And so I remember he graduated and he just gave me a list of scholarships and deadlines. And I would work with our counselors and our teachers. And they just spoke life into us. And so from a very young girl, I knew that there was something different about me, about my posture. And my teachers were very instrumental in making sure that I wasn't sidetracked by the violence and the crime in my neighborhood, that when I came home, I had a purpose and it was to do my homework, do good in school so that I can make it out.
Your mom must be so incredibly proud.
She is. She's very proud. She's now on the East Coast, and she actually finished her degree this year in undergrad.
Good for her.
She left. My gosh. She left at age 27 to make sure we had what we needed, and to not be distracted by the violence of the project. She really sacrificed those seasons for herself, and she finished what she started. And so at 51 years old, she walked across the stage just a few weeks ago with her undergrad.
Oh my gosh.
Full circle.
Talk about full circle.
Yeah.
Were you able to be there?
I was there.
Oh,
I was there. I walked her down. We were running late, but I walked her down, and my husband has this video of me putting on her tassels and her cap, and it was just a beautiful moment. And it reminds me to just never give up on your passion. You're never too late.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Never too late. And so I'm taking that and I'm preaching that for the next.
Yes. That's content
all year.
for years to come right there.
Yes.
So what? So you are essentially an ambassador for Horatio Alger Association for obvious reasons. But what keeps you coming back year after year?
Yeah. I've been volunteering for quite some time, first with the scholars, now with the members. And I just remember the moment I stepped foot into the hotel where they were hosting the scholars. And I mean, I had my own hotel room. They paid for my flight. They paid for my education, and they made me feel seen. I felt like they gave me my voice back. And so every year, my goal is to be a representation to the scholars that you can walk and you can graduate and you can forge paths that may have not been seen or endeavored upon before. And so I remember just this past year, I was sitting at a table with a group of young ladies, and they were asking me, wow, like you're in ministry and you wrote a book and you're a nurse. And I say this humbly, but you can be multifaceted. You could be multi-purpose. And so I believe that me being there, I'm able to answer questions and empower them and say, yes, pinch yourself. You're here, you're real, but you deserve it. Embrace your story and continue to stay focused towards your dreams and your goals. And I remember my essay, one line I wrote was, the greatest gift of life is the gift of giving. And so I wrote that like,
it like 17 years old?
17 years
wow.
old.
Yeah.
But the greatest gift of life for me is not about money. It's not about knowing who's who. It is about giving your time and making an impact in every room that you go into. And so I know I can see the fear in their eyes, like, wow, is my outfit okay? And I'm like, oh, you look so amazing. Or tell me about your story. Or, what do you want to be? And what are you majoring in? And that allows them to get out of their shell. And so I think that's my purpose of coming around.
And it fills your cup up as well.
It does. It's very nostalgic every year. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it's another year. But it was very monumental. And there's a quick story. My mom, when I was at Howard, my mom lost everything, lost the house. Everything was in storage, and they ended up getting rid of everything that was in storage. But my question was, do you have my Horatio Alger book? Do you have my medal? And the answer was yes. And so she even knew the impact that it had upon my life. And I still have it to this day.
Oh, that's pretty incredible. Oh, that got saved.
Yeah.
Christian, what do you think are, because I want to just get your opinion on, what do you think are common misconceptions that people have about, kids and family that are really in need?
Yeah. I think one of the misconceptions is that, okay, you have to define the need. There is a financial need, of course, when you're living in poverty. You can't pay your bills, you can't buy clothes, but, what is it that child possess? Get to know their story. I remember when I did a mission trip to South Africa, and we came and we're giving these items, and we're like, oh my goodness, they don't have running water. We feel so bad. And I remember this young boy, he was probably 5 or 6, and he said, wait a minute, we don't need your things. We're so happy. We have joy, we have peace. And even if we don't have the best clothing, we have what we need. We have enough. And so when you get to know the stories of those who are dealing with addiction and malnourishment or poverty, yes, there is a need. There's a financial need. There's a health need. But get to know their story and what fills their cup. What are they bringing into a room? And so I think once you understand that learning has a mutuality with it, you learn from them, we learn from you. I think that's where the transformation happens. So it's a posture.
It's a posture.
It's a posture.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. One last question for you. Yes. What is a key takeaway that we can give our audience today? What is one thing that somebody should know, or one thing that they can do to really help raise up a kid in need? Rise.
Yes,
raise up a kid in need.
I think everything goes down to vision. And there is a pastor in Atlanta by the name of Andy Stanley, and he has a quote in his book, Visioneering. It says, "Be stubborn about the vision and be flexible with the plan." Be stubborn about the vision. Be flexible with how you get there. Be flexible with the plan. And I believe that if we embrace that, no matter the tribulations we face, no matter the setbacks, no matter the pivots we have to make, as long as you know where you're trying to go to in life, I think that will be your guiding light. And so where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? When people are, celebrating your life at the end of your life, what will you be known for? And I think that vision is what fuels your actions, your motivations, your thoughts, your heart posture. And so get connected to your vision. That's what I will leave them with today.
I love that. That is so powerful. Well, you are just an incredible person and clearly come from an incredible woman, your mom and your siblings. And congratulations on all of your success with your church and your pastoring and your wellness. And it's just been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for sharing your time and your vision with us.
And thank you for having me.
Of course, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining our episode. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for spending your time with Think Bigger Voices. Visit thinkbigforkids.org/podcast to see more episodes, follow our journey, and stay connected.